done.
No, I
Go
don't think
forward.
any constitution is cast in stone. I think the whole perspective of a constitution is that it's like a guiding star. I mean, like a north pole that you work towards. You try to deal with issues in the constitution before, like I mentioned earlier, before they really become issues. If you try to work with issues in the constitution once they're already an issue, then you're not going to find a rational answer to it. You'll find emotionality coming into it. So deal with. I mean, by all means. I mean, for example, we have a constitution. We look at it every year and we go through it to see whether we need to make any changes. But the changes that we make will always have will be related to something which we foresee could be an issue rather than something which is already an issue.
Second question, equal rights on ownership, understood, but why on management? And there was a second question also, why on management there seems to still be this unequal right that women have to stake their claim to be managers of a business? And if there is a manager right, why is it only CSR and, do something on the fringes? Yeah, that's the sort of impression that is still there.
I think that we discussed in some measure that this is
Some problem with your mic.
the societal issue, how society has been thinking, and it's changing. And I would think Ashish was making this point a couple of times, and I would just like to elaborate that whether when men or women, and having worked with many families, I would say family members, there are many families where family members destroy value. Not for themselves, but for everybody. So the Ashish was repeatedly saying the question to ask is, what does the business need? Do my competencies, do my drives match with the business? Whether men, boy or girl, it doesn't make a difference. That's how society is moving, and it makes eminent sense. I think it's common sense. But most of the time, because of being family, I think this question is kept aside and the emotions come in.
Thanks, Anil.
Why don't we
Tweaking.
take a cue from Mrs. Dhirubhai Ambani, who resolved at the family level one of the biggest and the toughest courtroom battles, not only between her two sons, but which had become a huge national crisis.
Yeah. So she played the chief emotional officer role, right, for the family there. Yeah. Absolutely. Ashish, next question. Tweaking policies for family members in the context of business, right? So when family members want to be in the business, join the business, not work on Saturdays, others do, come late, go early. Does that work anymore?
Yeah,
Does that ever work?
No, I think that, a little bit of leeway could always work. I think again the question is being transparent about it and letting everybody know that this is the way it's going to be. I think in certain things, to try and do it in a sort of what's the right word here? Regimented manner can also have its problems. Trying to do it in a surreptitious manner can have its problems. Be transparent about it and let people know that, listen, the family has certain rules and regulations which are different, and leave it at that.
I think I'll add to this my bit that any problem, any issue, you cannot separate from the context. So if policy violation is small and it is in the overall interest, so be it. So you will have to see it from the context, not just individually कि नहीं ये करना है तो करना ही है. So that wisdom, and that comes through dialogue, multiple people coming together, sharing, discussing, and then the answer comes.
The next question was any examples of more capable of daughters where they were preferred over sons in a manager role in the business, in that management role of the business.
Certainly. I think I cannot name them.
Right.
But large businesses.
And how did the sons take it? Would be the next question, I'm sure.
I think the specific case which is coming to my mind is the daughter really deserved it, and she was smart and emotionally mature. She took the brother along.
Yeah.
The brother is also equally capable, and the pie is pretty large.
Yeah. I mean, there is an example of, where the younger son, runs the business as the CEO of the business, where the elder son does other things. And the example is past, FICCI president Rajan Mittal and Sunil Mittal of Airtel. Yeah. So there, people have made those choices. They're difficult choices to make. But people have made those choices, and Anil is giving you one example, but he can't obviously quote the family. But I think more important is how do you go about making those choices, the process for that, and how you convince others of that process. I think the second last question was old ideas that the families had, this is the way we always done things, versus this new uh, MTV culture, overseas education, and the new energy. Can that be a positive? Is that always a negative? And how do you blend the two together?
I think you can look at that as a positive, Vishesh. And the way I look at it is, again, differentiate between ownership and management, right? So if your kids come back from abroad and they have whatever ideas they have, right, whether that fits in with what your vision is of the company and so on, that the existing management has to take a call on. Whether they're capable enough to join the management or whether they want to join the management itself is a discussion that you have to have with them. The only thing that will probably move to them is the ownership. And if they're not interested in the ownership, then sell the company.
Right, having heard the Ramayana, of course, the key question, which, thank you for asking that question, where do you start? Where do you start this discussion? How do you start, that, who do you ask that we need a constitution, we need to define rules? People will say, where have you been today? Where do you start?
Yeah, yeah.
Can I answer that question?
Sure.
Yes, Malvika, but have you started?
Yes.
On the journey?
Yes.
Okay.
No, but no, I'm just giving you my perspective. Is that I heard Professor John Ward, and I heard Ashish on that panel, and it made me start. And I was on that panel with I attended it with my son, and I came back home charged, and I said, yes, this is what we needed. I'm not saying that we have already made a constitution. We have had several meetings had with Ash, but what it started was communication. And that started it between my daughters, my son, my husband, myself, and we all sat together, and we have this weekly or fortnightly, we sit together and discuss. And as Anil said, communication is the most important. So the starting point is that once it's in, when you go back and you say, okay, yes, we can do it, and then the communication. So that's my perspective. But I'm sure Ashish would be able to give you a.
Anil, I've got to close it.
Want me?
Is there something very brief in like
Okay,
10
so-
seconds, both of you? But no, both of you. 10 seconds, any final comments, both of you?
Since he said final comments, let me try and answer that quickly, Andy. I think the drive has to come from within the family. I don't think it's so much to do with nuclear or not. I think the situation in each family is different. For example, Karthik and I had seen so much destruction in our family, generation after generation, that we were clear we didn't want to see this again. So we actually sat down 11 years ago and said, let's start putting the rules and regulations in place so that this doesn't happen. And we saw that it was the lack of governance in the family which really led to all the problems that we had in the business. So I think the drive came much more from Karthik and me. We had the support of our parents, but the drive was more from Karthik and me. Okay. Having said that, let me also say that there's nothing ever called happily lived ever after. Unlike unlike what you read in the fairy tales where the prince and princess go off in the sunset. But you have to keep working at it. It's a journey. You have to keep working at it. And the only thing is that I think if you are able to go down that path, it gives you a lot more calmness, and let's say it gives you a lot of peace that you can actually work for a larger perspective rather than it's not the I in you in the thing. It's all about we then. So that's the difference.
Anil,
My
final word.
specific answer would be identify in the larger family, multiple generation, who are your potential allies and who are the people who will resist and what is their resistance, what is their concern, and find answer of those concerns. That is what will make you.
Right. Well, ladies and the very few gentlemen who are now left in the audience, it's been an entertaining discussion for me to get a new perspective. It is a subject where there is no right answer. There is no one right answer. The issues are all the same. Whether those issues apply to you today or not is only contextual. Over time, those issues will apply to every business. People say that family businesses are like that beautiful swan, very calm and serene above the water and paddling like hell underneath to stay afloat. And as we as we said, it's about communication is what can bring those issues up and slow down some of that paddling, below. That's what this is about. Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity. It's been a pleasure.
Thank Ladies, before we close this session, we'll need another 5-7 minutes of yours, so kindly be seated. Can I request Vasvi Bharatram, governing body member Flow, and the day chair for today to give her concluding remarks to this very important and interesting session today?
Thank you. Thank you. On a lighter note, after this heavy discussion, George Burns once said, happiness is having a large, loving, caring, close-knit family in another city. Jokes apart, when I got married 18 years ago, I married not only Ashish, but I married the whole family. We were a small family at that time. All of us got married. We all had children. The men in the family worked together like it was traditional. But after a while, my sister-in-law Radhika and I also joined my mother-in-law, who was at that point taking care of our family's educational initiatives and also the foundation. So the CSR was also there. We've been practicing the principles of family business management for the last 10 years now. As some of you know, my mother-in-law passed away recently, but Radhika and I have chosen to continue working together. And this is because we have a shared vision, a common purpose of seeing our schools be one of the best in the country and also taking Mummy's legacy forward. So that's what brings us together. Thank you. We talked about the Constitution earlier. Our family has been fully involved in making the Constitution. The ladies' opinions have been taken. If we had a different opinion, we stated them. And because of that, we have a buy-in. I think if somebody had just given us a document and said, do this, I think we would have never done it. So only because we were involved, we've taken it on and we do it. It has its advantages. It also can have some limitations sometimes, but the rules are the same for everybody. So whatever the rules are, they're clear, they're transparent. And also we look at them every year. So if we have a disagreement, we can always bring it up. We also take the responsibility of building the emotional quotient of the family, which would be the fun element, as Anil put in, which will be organizing holidays or fun events or making sure that we have like lunch or dinner. Something, we take the responsibility of that part of it also. So I feel by understanding and applying the principles of family business management, we can not only strengthen family relationships, but also optimize business strength. As Henry Ford said, coming together is the beginning, staying together is progress, and working together is success. Thank you.
Bharatram to give a gift and a green certificate to Mr. Anil Sainani for the wonderful. We have started giving green certificates instead of bouquets, wherein you can see that trees are planted in your name. It's outside Delhi. You can go online and check it actually. Can I invite Neeta Puchra to give the gift and green certificate to Ashish Bharatram? Can I request Meera Goyal to give the gift and green certificate to Vishesh Chandiok, please? Can I request Malvika Rai to give the gift to our gracious host for today's lunch, Ms. Meera Goyal? Can I now invite Neeta Buchra, Senior Vice President Flow, to give the vote of thanks to this very interesting and illuminating session for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Manju. And thank you, Vasvi, for sharing the conclusion of the session today. It was indeed enlightening. I'm sure the audience agrees. And I shall keep it very brief, 30 seconds. Our eminent panelists today, who are leading stalwarts in the theme for discussion, made today's session memorable with their immense knowledge and experience on how to manage family businesses and be genuine partners in tangible progress. And I would like to thank you all for sharing your insights at this important session. Special thanks to our dynamic president, Ms. Malvika Rai, for conceptualizing such a thought-provoking session. Vasvi Bharatram deserves gratitude for being the day chair and putting her synergies into the program. Meera Goel, governing body member, who has graciously hosted the lunch today, and I like to thank her for her affectionate offer. Also, my sincere thanks to the Flow Secretariat for the smooth execution of this event. Most of all, I would like to thank each and every one of you for being a wonderful audience and making this session most interactive and productive. I'm sure the panelists agree on this.
Absolutely.
Let us all now enjoy lunch on the 3rd floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Vishesh. Very much. Thank you for taking time out. I know we really had to kind of, you got Anil on board and everything, so that